Hello everyone, my name is Tom, I'm the Sugma Male. By the way, you should go subscribe to Sugma Male because there's gonna be a new video over there at some point. I don't know why I look so skinny today. Anyways, today I feel like talking about the MCU. Now, here's a little bit about me. I personally have never been the type of person to be like, oh, this thing is cool, or this thing is uncool, or anything like that when I'm deciding if I want to enjoy a thing. If I'm pretty independent in the things that I enjoy. If other people don't like a thing, it doesn't stop me. Bro, I got bullied for liking wrestling for years, and I was even weird within wrestling fan terms for years, because I was like one of the few people who watched independent wrestling and like Ring of Honor and all that stuff. So I'm not afraid to be weird. I'm not afraid to like have weird interests. But the MCU is one of those things where like, it was one of the few pieces of media where I would say, like, I'm not gonna say I pretended to like it, because I did enjoy it, and I think that we can all agree upon that. We're not going to be these, like, hyper-elitist film snobs who are like, oh, the MCU is ruining film. But, like, I'm not gonna pretend that, like, 90% of my enjoyment did not come from, like, the social aspect of enjoying it. Most of my relationship to the MCU was not so much that it was something that I was, like, passionately invested in. It was because it was always a thing to bond with other people over. It was just such a universally consumed thing that you could just connect with people over. Anyone who was in my age range, especially among the social circles that I would be attracted to, it was always like a consistent thing where I would always be able to bond with friends, family, whoever over the MCU. It's kind of like this generation's Star Wars. I don't know, I wasn't around for like the bulk of Star Wars. Even the prequels, I was like this tall, all of that. In like 2005, what was I, 8? Yeah, I was probably that tall. So with that being said, recently the MCU has been expanding, but the thing is like, I think that the series are kind of where I got lost. I feel like that kind of lost me, and I think a big part of that is because for years I watched every MCU film, and the reason why was because every time there would be a new MCU film, at least one of my friends would hit me up like, yo, you want to go see it? And of course, like, that was how it happened. And it was just like kind of an expectation almost. It's like I wasn't gonna seek stuff out on my own, usually. If it had been a minute and nobody asked me, I would go and watch stuff on my own eventually. But it wasn't really a thing where I was like going on my way. And that's like, okay, now there's like 4 series out on Disney Plus that I have not even touched because there's no social incentive, at least for me personally. And now it's like there's just so much, and there's not the same culture around it. There's not the same, like, I feel like I'm not alone in the fact that like I feel like I've fallen out, and not even that it's too late to get back in, but I just don't really care enough to get back in. Partially because I'm sure, like, if someone did hit me up to be like, hey, you want to go see the new MCU film, I don't think I would be that far behind. I mean, there have been certain movies, like, for example, Doctor Strange Wanda movie that came out. I'm like, I haven't seen WandaVision, so I feel like I'd be lost. I feel like I wouldn't know what's going on, so I just like, yeah, I'll eventually watch WandaVision. And then I never did. And then now it's like, okay, we're like 3 movies past that. I think part of the thing with like the series, the MCU is one of the most like inconsistent franchises. There can be movies that are incredible. I still think the first Black Panther is like among like one of the few movies that I've seen in the last whenever it came out where it's like it's nearly flawless. I mean, there are some things in there where I'm like, okay, this could have been different, this would have been better if they did this instead, but it's nearly flawless. I always enjoy it. But like Infinity War, that was more of like an event. I tried to rewatch Infinity War a year or 2 ago, and I fell asleep halfway through because I'm like, bro, I already know what happens, and I also don't really care. Was seeing Infinity War in theaters one of like the greatest like cinematic experiences I've ever had? Of course, but I was also surrounded by my friends, so like that's another aspect to it. I think my point is I've just kind of like realized over the last couple years, especially as the MCU expands into different mediums, that expect a little bit more from me. They demand a little bit more in the sense of like being as inconsistent as the MCU is. It's one thing if I sit through a 2-hour movie and it's not great. If I have to sit through 6-10 episodes that are like an hour long each, that's a different story. Playing a little bit more of a gamble there on my time and on my energy to like potentially sit through something that's not going to be that great. Like, I've heard good things about WandaVision, I've heard great things about Loki, I've heard things about the other ones. I mean, I've been told like, oh dude, you would love this one or you would love that one. It's just such an investment, you know? It's such an investment to like put that much time in, and like I watch a lot of stuff just doing what I do. Like there's a lot of stuff that I need to watch. In fact, I still need to watch the rest of I only saw the first couple episodes of Moon Girl and Devil Sword. I need to watch the rest of that soon. That's a good show, by the way. You should go and watch it. I say only seeing 2 episodes. Yeah, I think my point ultimately is just like, I wonder how many people are in the same boat as me. I wonder how many people are also like, yeah, no, like I used to always go with my friends to see the new MCU movies and stuff. And now after COVID and everything, and then like over COVID, there was the streaming series that came out. I'm not really speaking English today. I'm wondering how many people are in the same boat where they're like, yeah, no, I don't know, don't really care. Can't really be bothered as much to like watch stuff. I feel like also like I'm in a weird place as I get older where I can recognize when something isn't that great, but it's still enjoyable, and I can appreciate things for what they are, but I also kind of have to play this game of like, is it really worth my time though? Is it really worth my time to see something that's like good? I'm gonna enjoy it, but there are much better things out there to spend my time on. It's just the attention economy, I guess. I don't think the MCU is going to end or anything. I don't think it's in trouble. I think that regardless of how I feel personally, or even how most of you feel, it's a multi-billion-dollar thing that's gonna truck along regardless of whether or not we as individuals feel it is up to par. I think because there is that social aspect, and again, because if someone hits me up and says like, hey, you want to go and see the new Ant-Man or the new Black Panther movie that doesn't have Chadwick Boseman, you think I'm gonna say no? I feel like that's kind of like part of the thing too, is like they have that niche of like, this isn't just a story. It's not just media. It's not just something for you to consume. It's something for you to bond with people over. Because that's really the thing, is like, I think back to like some of my favorite MCU films, and like part of it is literally just like thinking of like who I went to see the movies with. Because I've seen them over the course of years with so many different people. Over the last several years, it was mostly the same people, but even then, it's like, you know, I just think about like the memories that I had with those people. I think about how I went to see like the first Iron Man with my mom, or how I went to see the Avengers with my aunt and uncle, or how me and my friends in middle school went to see Captain America or Thor, and like even though Thor wasn't great, I remember, you know, seeing it with my friends. And that was like around the time where like I was starting to like gain enough independence, and also just like geographically where I lived and where I went to school is just very close to a movie theater, so even when we were in middle school, we were able to just like go and see movies on our own. And like that's the type of stuff I think about when I think of some of the MCU films over the years. It's not even like the actual film. I just remember like going to see these things with the people in my life at that time. Even just this past summer when I was living in LA for a month, going to see the new Spider-Man movie, like the extended version with like everybody out there, you know, like that's the stuff I think about. And it's like, I didn't even care that I had seen it. I didn't even care that it was a movie I had seen. It was just like, okay, I want to go see a movie with these people, and that's all it was, you know? And like, I feel like that's kind of a niche where it's like, I don't know, it's almost like it doesn't matter as long as like these films are serviceable. And it's like a weird niche in arts and entertainment where it's like, it doesn't even need to be that good, you know? It's just that thing, you know? It's just such a institution in culture, in life, that it's like, it just is what it is. Anyways, that's all I gotta say.